In this video, you're going to be taking a look at my Sandtrooper collection as it stands right now. At this time, I have most of these reviewed on the channel to some extent. I know there are a few I'm missing, like this Evolutions Pack 1, which I do plan on reviewing that pack at some point, not sure when. And I also included a few extra ones in here that I think kind of fit in. The Minban Stormtrooper, which I haven't done a proper review of on the channel up until now, but I plan to here at some point, someday at least. Not sure exactly when I'll get to that. Then I'm also including the Remnant Stormtrooper, which I think fits along nicely with the Sandtroopers as well, which I also have to do a review for. I don't think I've mentioned it before, but there is a certain method I do to which action figures I review. You might notice a lot of times it's randomized, where it seems like, oh, one day it goes from like Empire Strikes Back and Hoth to like Attack of the Clones and Geonosis the next. There is a certain pattern I like to follow, and it's my way of trying to accommodate all the various eras to some degree, instead of just focusing all in on one at a time. It's a nice balance. So whenever I get around to the Remnant Stormtrooper and the Minban Stormtrooper, I'm sure it'll fit along with that pattern as well. But like I said, other than maybe those three I've shown so far, all these are reviewed on the channel. And of course, this guy here, the one back here with the staff, and then this one right here, I got about a month ago at this point. And it's really enhanced my Sandtrooper collection. We'll go through and show a couple of these off again here. Start with my original. I've had this since 2003 or 4 now. So over 20 years now I've had this guy. It was in the Power of the Jedi line. It's a very nice Sandtrooper. It's the only one I think we've ever gotten with the binoculars here. And of course you can't get him to hold it up to his eyes. Even though the articulation's kind of limited, you can do quite a bit with what little you do have. It's pretty nice. Could do that even. Reenact that scene from A New Hope. And I'm pretty sure the next one I got was this guy. This is the Cycle Collection one from 2006. Now I've told a story about him before. It's a very nice action figure as well. And of course his mold was reused for like those three, for instance, and various other Sandtroopers along the way. I still really like this mold though. I don't think this Power of the Jedi / original trilogy Sandtrooper though was reused for any others. Well, you know what? Come to think of it, I think it was, and maybe like a multi-pack. But it didn't get a whole lot of reuse. I think there may have been a clean Sandtrooper where it was in a multi-pack, and it had the white pauldron, and then, let me see if I can take this off real quick. It may have had the pauldron where it was upside down like that. Have you ever seen that with some of the Sandtrooper action figures in retail, or the various releases throughout the years where they put the pack on like that? And typically it does work. I suppose if you wanted to give some variety to your display, that is an option. But I'm a big fan of these two. And of course, arguably my favorite Stormtrooper in general. Well, it might very well be my favorite Stormtrooper in general. TBC one here, nice weathering, looks really good. And of course his predecessor that came with the dewback right there. I'm pretty sure this one here was the third Sandtrooper I got. Even though there's nothing sandy about him. Made the joke before, he's probably the paper pusher that's sitting inside the tent while the rest of them are out on patrol. Doesn't get a whole lot of sand on his armor there. And well, actually I'll bring those two out. He must have his guard here outside the tent. Ironic how the cleanest Sandtroopers here both have the white pauldron. See differences in the two. We'll have to get some more stands here at some point, these clear ones. And it has been a little while now, but in case you haven't seen yet, I did do a video back in September of 2023 where I go into detail about these stands and various other ones that Hasbro's done over the years. So I would recommend checking that out if you're curious about it. And of course this Evolutions Pack one here, I forget exactly which. Of course, it was a Clone Trooper to Stormtrooper Evolutions Pack, but I'm trying to think exactly which ones it came with. I know it was a Phase 1 Clone Trooper with a plain helmet, and then it also came with a Clone Pilot helmet, and he had a lot of weathering on him. Then I think it may have been the Clone Commander from the 41st Elite, or the Coruscant Platform Landing Commander that came with this. I forget exactly. I think that might have been it though. And then there was a second Evolutions Pack which came with the Sandtrooper as well, but he had the orange pauldron I think and much less weathering. And then that one came with the 327 Star Corps clone, and then also a yellow Phase 1 Clone Commander, and it also came with the alternative pilot helmet as well. And I have the two clones that come with that pack, but I don't have the Sandtrooper as of yet. So that is one I am missing. But the weathering on this one's really nice. It's very nicely applied. Definitely was probably the best one at the time. You can tell he's been out on patrol the longest. And it's definitely a great contender to this guy for best weathering. This is not the rifle he comes with, but that's just how I have him displayed right now. I think he looks really good with that. I think that's the TBC Shadow Stormtrooper rifle. Yeah, a little bit of paint difference right there. But I'll go into more detail with this guy in his own proper video at some point. And this was released during the Revenge of the Sith line, I think, back in 2005. And he does have a counterpart here with a very similar pauldron. I think it's supposed to be the white one, and it's just really weathered. In fact, come to think of it, I think these are, well, they're not exactly the same Sandtrooper, but the helmets look the same. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. The weathering is a little bit different, though. I will say that is one thing I really miss about Hasbro is each action figure for weathering used to be totally unique. But then in the era of like the Remnant Stormtrooper here, I have 4 or 5 of these guys. 4 of them, and then one of the carbonized ones, and they all have the same exact weathering pattern on them. There's 0 differences at all. But back in the day, they all used to be different. I really miss that. It's pretty nice. And what else is there to show? Can't forget about this guy here. Another squad leader. Definitely, I think this TVC one is the more superior one, but you know, he's a very nice action figure. Weathering on him looks pretty good too. He is kind of awkward to stand though, and he's more difficult to stand actually than the other ones of the similar mold. Not exactly sure why. What else is there? I'll just bring out the Min-Man Stormtrooper one more time real quick. This was the very first Stormtrooper actually to feature this Stormtrooper mold. I think a lot of people forget that at this point, that the Min-Man Stormtrooper is actually the first one with this, not the Imperial Stormtrooper. But the Rogue One Stormtrooper was the very second action figure. And of course the Remnant one here. Some point soon I would really like to do a diorama where I take all these guys outside and see what they're made of. And of course I'll do the Black Series one here real quick. I do plan on getting the Hot Toys Dewback and Sandtrooper. As expensive as it is, I think it's going to be too nice to pass up on. And I think it'll be a nice centerpiece. Well, yeah, just wanted to do this quick overview of my Sandtroopers. I know I've mentioned it before that I really wanted to get several videos featuring the Sandtroopers on my channel, because it's my favorite type of Stormtrooper. These are some of my favorite action figures. I love all of them to a certain degree, but definitely these 3 or 4 here I cherish greatly because they've been in my collection for many years now. And I think they're some of the best Sandtroopers that Hasbro's ever made. Do some dioramas at some point. I do hope to get the Dewback. Not sure when. Next year, since Hasbro's doing like a Return to Tatooine theme for the TVC line, perhaps we'll get another release of the Dewback. And that is one other thing I'll mention, is since the HasLab for the Cantina is in motion right now, I did want to get some more Tatooine oriented action figures reviewed on the channel leading up to that. I think that Cantina is going to be really nice, and all these characters will look really nice in that. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this small overview of Sandtroopers. Do hope to get a few more down the road, especially some of the ones I'm missing. I think at this point this is about all the main ones that you can get, especially the main ones that people are going to want most in their collections. But there are still a few other ones out there I'm missing, and I'll track those down at some point. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I just appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.